What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Loreverse. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest, most fan requested, most legacy defining stories DC has ever had, a true Batman and Superman's world finest movie in the DCU. And I'm not talking about a cameo team up, not a rush crossover, not a versus movie. I mean, a full on cinematic exploration of the most important relationship in the entire DC universe. Because fans don't just want this movie. They've been waiting decades for it. And now with James Gunn's DCU reboot, it feels like the first time in forever where a world's finest adaptation could actually work. And today we're diving deep into why fans want it, why it matters, how the comics shaped this dynamic, and what a true DCU world's finest needs to get right. So let's get into it and let's dive deep into this. When you think about DC, everything eventually comes back to Batman and Superman. Not because they're the most popular characters, although they are, but because they represent two opposing philosophies that still find a way to coexist. Superman is hope, idealism, the belief humanity can rise. On the other hand, Batman is trauma, pragmatism, and the belief humanity needs protection from itself. And they shouldn't work together, but they do, and that's the magic. This relationship has anchored the DC universe since World Finest Comics in 1941. But the deeper version, the modern version, really took shape in series like Jeff Loeb's Superman and Batman, the world's finest run in the 1990s, Mark Waid's Batman and Superman's World Finest, which is the current run, the Justice League animated series, and the Timverse and the DCAU crossover like episodes. And there is actually a world's finest animated movie that is a real hitter. You guys should watch that. I'm pretty sure it's on HBO Max, I think. And what the fans know is this: you cannot build a DC universe without establishing the trust, tension, and a brotherhood between these two men. Marvel has the Avengers dynamic, Star Wars has the Jedi and Sith, and DC, it has the world's finest. One of the things fans desperately want from the DCU is the thing the Snyderverse never got to finish: the evolution of Clark and Bruce, from distrust to respect to family. In the comics, no relationship defines Batman more than Superman. Yes, even more than Robin. And no relationship grounds Superman more than Batman. Yes, even more than Lois in certain arcs. And the reason fans want this movie is because a world's finest film finally gives us that emotional evolution. Batman learning that hope isn't a weakness, and Superman learning that caution isn't paranoia. And these movies don't have to compete, but they sharpen each other. And we know the DCU is building, right, a younger Clark Kent, and we know that we are getting a hardened, established Batman with a son, and a universe that's leaning into mythology, legacy, and a superhero history. And this is exactly the foundation required for World's Finest, because traditionally, the best Batman and Superman stories comes when two heroes are already fully formed, but still learning how to navigate each other's worldview. Imagine this dynamic: Superman in his early career still navigating public pressure, Batman deep into his mission, hardened, distrustful, already scarred by loss, and then these two forces collide, not in a fight, but in a philosophical tug of war over how a superhero should operate in this world. And fans want that. They want the DCU's tone to be shaped by the relationship between its two pillars, not by cameos, not by multiverse chaos, and not by shortcuts, but by character. And let's be real, Batman v Superman was marketed as the clash of the century, but fans never got the relationship and the friendship that should have followed. We got distrust, we got conflict, we got a doomsday battle that cut the emotional arc short. But what we never got was Clark calling Bruce for help, Bruce warning Clark about someone he doesn't trust, the two of them sitting on a rooftop discussing humanity, the brotherhood, the bond, the legacy. Fans know what could have been, and that's why they want World's Finest. Not to redo the Snyder story, but to finally honor the comic history where Batman and Superman don't just coexist, they define each other. And for an example, look at Mark Waid's current Batman and Superman World's Finest run. It's one of DC's best-selling series. And why? Because it nails what fans want in a movie: classic heroism, emotional character work, a balanced tone between light and dark, action that means something, villains who challenge both heroes differently, and a friendship that feels earned. This is proof that the audience is hungry for a Batman and Superman dynamic that actually honors the characters, not deconstructs them, not tears them down, but shows why they matter. And one of the most underrated aspects of a World's Finest story is how the world responds when Batman and Superman unite. In the comics, whenever they operate together, the entire villain ecosystem changes. Lex Luthor panics, the Joker becomes unpredictable, even groups like the League of Assassins, Intergang, or Apocalypse forces rethink their strategy. A movie that focuses on this creates a DCU that feels alive, connective, and reactive. Imagine a DCU film where villains realize the world has changed forever because the two most powerful symbols on Earth are standing side by side. That's the kind of storytelling fans crave. No two heroes fight like Batman and Superman because their conflicts aren't about who's stronger, they are about how to save the world. Batman sees danger where Superman sees potential. Superman sees redemption where Batman sees threats. And that's why stories like Public Enemies, the Supergirl saga, the Tower of Babel, Fallout moments, and the Justice League animated run, right? They hit so hard because their disagreements reshape the DC universe. A film that leans into this, not just punching, but ideology, becomes more than a superhero movie. It becomes a guiding philosophy of the DCU. Now, the legacy of World's Finest is more than a team up because, at its best, World Finest is a story about trust. Batman trusting someone with the power to burn the earth, and Superman trusting someone who doesn't trust anyone. And fans want this because it's the emotional backbone of the entire DC mythology. You want to understand why the Justice League works? Watch Bruce and Clark Kent learn to work together. You want to understand why the villains escalate? Show them realizing that taking on one of these heroes is one thing, but taking on both is a death sentence. You want to understand the themes of the DCU? Let these two characters debate what a hero should be. And that's why fans want this movie, because this single relationship can define the entire universe going forward. Fans want a Batman who isn't a godless cynic. Fans want a Batman who isn't a godless cynic. Fans want a Superman who isn't depressed or distrusted by the world. Fans want a partnership that actually feels compatible. World Finest gives us a darker character who learns to hope, a hopeful character who learns to prepare, and really a universe shaped not by conflict but by growth. For the first time in decades, right, both characters can meet at the center, and that is the version fans have been asking for. Or now, why do fans want a Batman and Superman World's Finest movie in the DCU? Because it's the cornerstone of DC mythology, because it's the relationship that defines the universe, and because the comics have already proven that this works, and also because the DCU finally has the right foundation to adapt it. And lastly, because fans want to see Batman and Superman not tearing each other down, but lifting the entire universe up. And if James Gunn wants the DCU to work, World's Finest isn't optional. It's necessary, and honestly, it's time. Hope you guys enjoyed this freaking video. I can't tell you how many, like, I literally had to catch up on the entire like World's Finest run, and I read the original run. I think that was in the 1940s or something. I read every run of the World's Finest. I watched mad comic book breakdowns of it as well, just to get a deeper scope of this, or to craft this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video talking about the World's Finest movie, about the World's Finest, because this has become one of my favorite comic runs. And let me tell you, man, if they adapt this in the DCU movies, this will be $1 billion movie. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, and peace out.